Hello everyone, my name is Brennan Marr, that noise you're hearing is my ventilator. And welcome to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. Today I'd like to talk about 3 questions I do not need answered in The Rise of Skywalker. Now, there has been a lot of discussion, as you are well aware, of what we might see in The Rise of Skywalker, particularly what answers we will get to a lot of our questions. And particularly what's going to happen. But there are 3 questions that I've heard a lot of discussion about people saying they need an answer or would like an answer. Now, let me preface this by saying the following 3 questions are not questions that I don't want answered. They're questions I don't need to be answered. If they give us the answers to these questions, then that's great. That's fine. But I don't need the answers to be there. That being said, let's jump in. We'll start with the least interesting going to the most interesting. Number 1, how does Maz Kanata get Luke Skywalker's lightsaber? Or should I say Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber? Now, this is a question that had been on people's minds since The Force Awakens. Rey is called through the Force downstairs in Maz's castle. And this is really Rey's first, feeling of the Force calling her somewhere. She goes downstairs into her room, finds a wooden chest, opens it, and what does she find? Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. And you know the rest. She touches it, she sees a vision, not only of herself, her own story, but of Luke's story as well. Now, there's a lot of questions that we can ask about this particular vision that she sees, other than to say, suffice it to say, that Rey and Luke's destinies are intertwined. That being said, how does Maz get it? Well, there are rumors that the opening scene of The Force Awakens was originally intended to be Luke's severed hand holding the little lightsaber, floating in space, being picked up by a spaceship of some sort. Now, let me make it very clear. That would have been incredibly stupid. Not only is Luke's hand and lightsaber not in space, but I don't know if his severed hand would still be holding on to the saber. It wouldn't be floating in space because when it got cut off, it fell down into the atmosphere of Bespin, which is a rather gaseous planet. Now, I don't know how true the rumor about this scene was, but that is presumed to be, I sound very Shakespearean, that is presumed to be Maz picking up the saber. Now, we do know from the original trailer that Maz was going to give Luke's lightsaber, or Anakin's lightsaber, to Leia. Do you remember that? Do you remember that scene from the teaser? It was never in the movie. It makes me wonder if that's a scene they're going to use in The Rise of Skywalker. Since they did mention they were going to use unused footage of Leia. Okay, that being said, how did Maz get the lightsaber? In fact, somebody, I think Han asked her that, and she's like, a good question for another time. I don't really think we need an answer, and here's why. Star Wars is very fun by giving us, or is a very fun franchise, because sometimes it will give us a thread of information. Just enough that our imaginations can spark and try to fill in the blank. Now, if they explain how Maz got the saber, great. If they don't, great. But I don't believe that we need an answer for everything in Star Wars. Okay, so that was question one. How did Maz get Luke's lightsaber? Question two. Who is Snoke? Where did Snoke come from? Ever since Snoke first appeared in The Force Awakens as a hologram, people have been wondering who this guy is. Now, there were rumors, not rumors, but theories, that he was Darth Plagueis, who was Palpatine's master, and figured out a way to come back to life. That could be true. Nothing has happened so far to disprove that. But I would say that the general interest in Snoke waned after he was killed by Kylo Ren. Now, as far as if we learn more about him, that's great. If not, great. Now, I do believe that there will be stories about Snoke, books and comics, and even games, maybe, that fill in some of those blanks. I don't know if in the movies we need to know. Because, I'm going to say it, I don't care about Snoke. I used to. When he first appeared in The Force Awakens, I was fascinated. Even though his actual appearance and dialogue isn't all that great. I was fascinated because I thought of the possibilities of who he could be. Particularly the Darth Plagueis thing. I thought that would be a neat way to tie all the sagas together. But it looks to me like Palpatine's going to be the glue that ties all the sagas together. And as Palpatine is my favorite character, I find that totally acceptable. So no, I don't need to know more about Snoke in the films. I don't really think that he really matters that much. It was Kylo Ren needed to step up and, be the focus of the films and not have this other guy in the way. The scenes that Snoke was in The Last Jedi, were very good. Very meaty. Andy Serkis did a good job. That's all we really need. So I don't really care. I mean, yes, I want to know more about Snoke, but I don't think we need any questions about him answered. in the movie because he is not the focus of this new trilogy. And I don't think they should waste screen time explaining him unless they have something interesting to say. So question 2, who is Snoke? Number 3, the biggest question I don't need answered. How is Rey so powerful? Yet again, starting with The Force Awakens, people immediately said, why is Rey so powerful? She's too powerful. She's too skilled. She picks up the Force too quickly. Now, I don't want to go too deep into that, but let me say one thing. Luke trained for like 5 minutes to block a couple of blaster bolts with a lightsaber. Later, he was able to turn off his targeting computer and use the Force to guide his torpedoes to destroy the Death Star. Nobody batted an eyelash that this kid with barely any training in the Force could suddenly be powerful enough to, without the benefit of a targeting computer, blow up the Death Star, making a 1,000,000-to-1 shot. Now, you may say that, well, he had already explained that he bullseyed womp rats. Yes, he did, but we don't know if he did that without a targeting computer. So needless to say, nobody complained about that. Nobody said Luke is too powerful. Maybe they would have if social media had existed back then. Or at least the way we know it today. So, yeah, Rey is powerful. Rey picks things up easily. Yeah. But so did Luke. So did Anakin. And that didn't seem to bother us. But why is Rey so powerful? Yet again, if they explain it, great. If they don't explain it, great. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's not really important. She just is. I think the Force needed to find a way to balance itself out. And since Luke had shut himself off from the Force, and Leia didn't seem particularly interested, it needed to be Rey. Now, there may be an interesting explanation given in The Rise of Skywalker. And not just necessarily why is Rey so powerful, but people want to know more about her origins. And I believe we're going to get some of that. But do I need it to be explained to me why she's so powerful? No. If it has no bearing on the story, then they shouldn't worry about it. If it does have bearing on the story, and it would make an interesting plot point, sure. So those are the 3 questions that I don't need answered. If you out there listening want these questions answered, then that's totally great. And that's totally fine, and you should be happy with the fact that you want them answered. I don't, or need them answered, rather. I don't need them answered. I don't want them answered. But if they are, and it works, then I'm perfectly willing to accept it. I am willing to accept whatever comes along if I watch the movie and I enjoy it. So let's recap. Number 1, how did Maz get Skywalker's lightsaber? Number 2, who is Snoke? And number 3, why is Rey so powerful? These are the 3 questions I don't need answered. My name is Brendan Marr. That noise you hear is my ventilator. And thank you so much for tuning in to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. May the Force be with you.